of the light. It seemed to be afraid of it. Taking advantage of this new discovery, Spear and Fang chased the creature down as the sun began to set. They set several trees on fire, trapping the creature in a ring of flames. With a mighty throw, Spear launched his spear at the creature, watching as it burned to death. Panting and triumphant, Spear and Fang stood in the water, catching fish for their dinner. Fang managed to snag a giant catch, but Spear tossed his back into the water, deeming it too small. They had won the day, and now it was time to rest and celebrate their victory. As Spear tried to catch more fish, he watched as they swam away, just out of reach. Suddenly, a strange woman appeared out of nowhere. Before they could react, a Leopleurodon attacked, dragging Fang into the water. Spear didn't hesitate. He jumped into the water to help Fang and fought off the beast, killing it in the process. He emerged from the water, ready to pursue the mysterious woman. He chased her through the woods and finally caught up to her, sitting down in front of her. Fang let out a fierce roar, trying to intimidate the woman, but she was unfazed, turning and running away. Undeterred, Spear and Fang continued their pursuit. After what felt like an eternity, they finally caught up to the woman. Spear stopped Fang from growling and the two of them sat on the ground in front of her. Spear started a fire to warm her up, but Fang continued to growl. Spear put a stop to it and leaned against the woman, falling asleep. That night, the woman gazed up at the moon and performed a strange prayer as Spear watched quietly. The next morning, they woke up and continued on their journey, with the woman following close behind. As they walked, the woman accidentally bumped into Fang, who let out another ferocious roar. But before things could escalate, a giant bug flew around them. Fang quickly ate it, diffusing the tension. They caught an animal and ate it raw, with the woman gathering ingredients for their meal. Using a turtle shell as a makeshift cooking pot, the woman prepared their meal. She offered some to Spear, but Fang snatched it up and ran off. Undeterred, the woman gave Spear another piece of food, but he didn't like it and tossed it aside. That night, the woman performed her strange prayer and Spear watched in fascination. As the sun rose the next morning, he noticed the woman struggling with the restraint around her neck. He dragged her away, and Fang bit it off, freeing her. With a rock, Spear broke the shackles on her wrists, and the woman stared up at the sun, a smile spreading across her face. She turned to Spear and introduced herself as Mira, but he simply walked away. Mira followed them, gathering supplies as they went. As they hunted for their next meal, Spear missed his shot on a large animal. Mira stepped in, using an arrow to take it down, leaving Spear and Fang in shock. They roasted the animal, and Mira tried to engage Spear in conversation. But he didn't understand her words, so she used a stick to draw on the ground. In her native language, Mira told the story of how her people were attacked and forced into slavery. She depicted a strange man with horns, showing how she ran away and ended up on this journey. As they continued on their journey together, it was clear that they had formed a strong bond, despite their rocky start. Fang was scared of climbing some rocky cliffs. Spear yelled at Fang, trying to get her to climb the rocky cliffs, but she stubbornly refused. Mira, however, had a different plan. She ran off into the woods and came back with a handful of bugs. Using them as bait, she managed to coax Fang up the rocks. That night, Spear drew the moon on the sand, and Mira lay down to sleep. The next morning, they woke up to find several ape men lurking nearby. Without hesitation, the ape men abducted Mira and ran off with her. Spear and Fang gave chase, determined to save her. Spear picked up a makeshift hammer and, as they ran, they saw several ape men lying dead with arrows stuck in them. They followed the footprints on the ground and heard Mira's screams. They reached the shore just in time to see a ship sailing away, the same symbol that was on Mira's head emblazoned on its sails. Spear stood on the shore, calling out Mira's name as the ship disappeared into the horizon. Fang let out a mighty roar, their sadness and anger palpable. Spear stood on the beach, yelling at Mira. He was determined to swim out to sea, but the powerful waves kept pushing him.